Ubisoft had their shareholders' earnings call, and it's not looking good for the company. We'll get into a couple of big pieces of news as the CEO is doing damage control for the Assassin's Creed brand and more. So if you are ready for a big Ubisoft spiral, buckle up, everybody, as we get into this news in just a moment. My name's John Delarose. Everybody hit that like and subscribe button. Really appreciate you for being there. I'm a content creator in addition to what I do here, including comic books and full novels as well. So I've got a graphic novel, 66 pages for free, and a full novel for free, and a full steampunk novella for free. All for signing up for my newsletter. It's in the description below, guys, and I'd love to stay in touch with you as we develop new things and better things than what Ubisoft is doing right here. Thank you guys for coming on and checking out the books. And if you've got on here already, Night Training is a part of my Adventures of Baron von Monocle series. You can go read that, and Flying Sparks has multiple extra volumes on the website too, and you can get those digitally or physically, either way you like. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so Ubisoft is confirming Assassin's Creed Shadows' delay is costing the company an extra 20 million euros. So wow, they are scrambling. That's a big increase. Maybe as much as 10% of an additional budget here, depending on what Ubisoft is actually having for Assassin's Creed Shadows. So this game is becoming a money pit for the company, and it's all because of the woke decisions that they made. If you guys don't remember, it was uncovered that this whole thing was shoehorned and that they changed the whole direction of things to put in that Black Samurai with the Black Lives Matter riots and situation going on, trying to capitalize on wokeism, thinking that this was going to be the way going forward. They legitimately thought, yes, this is what the people want when they did this and tried for this diversity game in a Japanese setting. As they went along with that, of course, they had to bastardize the Japanese culture because it doesn't work like this, and this guy was never actually a samurai. It was done based on false information from a guy who was not actually going into the history that they were hiring to consult on this, and it just became a complete nightmare from there. Not even getting into the LGBTQ stuff, which is also in the background of this miring the game. So the CEO, Yves Guillemot, confirmed that the company is spending an additional $20 million by delaying the game to February, and of course they are scrambling to fix this game so that gamers are not going to be upset by it. They announced back in September it would be delaying towards February 14th. I'm hearing internally that it is going to be much longer than that because they don't even have the resources they need to be able to make the fixes that they really want to do and that they're trying to promise through this. And so it's going to be something that's going to spiral them much further as well, especially with all those strikes and the like with employment going on over in France. As for why, the company explained, while the game is feature complete, the learnings from Star Wars Outlaws, the learnings from Star Wars Outlaws, that was a big, expensive lesson, wasn't it? Release led us to provide additional time for further polish the title. This will enable the biggest entry in the franchise to fully deliver on its ambition, notably fulfilling the promise of our dual protagonist adventure, with Naoi and Yasuke being two very different gameplay styles. So it sounds like they're not really changing that much, but that's not what I hear internally. I hear it's a lot crazier than it sounds on these investor calls, which they're trying to be corporate and chill with this sort of thing. We are departing from the traditional season pass model, thank God. All players will be able to enjoy the game at the same time on February the 14th, and those who pre-order the game will be granted the first expansion free, and that's to make up for the early access they were promised originally. The company concluded the game will mark the return by our new release date on Steam 1. Now, I think part of this early access thing was because Star Wars Outlaws had a big controversy where when they put in a patch, it actually erased all the gameplay when people came in through things, and you had to start a new game from scratch in order to continue playing, and that was a big problem for the bugginess that was Star Wars Outlaws. So I think they're trying to mitigate this time. In an official post to the company's X account, Ubisoft's Mark Alexis Cotier elaborated, Assassin's Creed Shadows is a dream project for us. Oh boy, it's going to be a nightmare for you guys if you don't change things drastically. Finally bringing the series to feudal Japan with many features developed with our community in mind, such as parkour or renewed stealth brought by new technology, all set in a beautiful and immersive world. This ambitious addition to the franchise is a rich experience, which can be lived through the eyes of two unique protagonists, but we realize they need more time to polish and refine the experience. pushing further some of our key features. Now, I'm being told that Yasuke's story is getting just completely gutted on this level, and they're trying to just back it off of some very, very egregious things that are just bad for the Japanese culture, because they made a big problem for themselves with Japan, where Japanese gamers were actually putting out a petition to try to cancel the game entirely because it insulted their culture so much. Over 100,000 Japanese gamers did that, and of course Ubisoft pulled out of the Japanese Game Expo, didn't even show up, which is pretty crazy by itself. Then they doubled down by hiring a Chinese person to localize the Japanese language, which of course upset Japan even further. And then they put during all this, they put out all their non-apology, half apology sort of thing to try to assuage Japanese gamers. And they knew it didn't work, and that's why they've got these delays. We'll see how far this changes from their initial vision at this point. As such, we made the decision to postpone the release to February 14th, 2025. The game will release on a broad range of platforms, including Steam, of course, and additionally, pre-orders will be refunded, and all future pre-orders will be granted for the first expansion for free. Wow. So a big problem right there just out the gate. It's kind of admitting that the game's a failure, even though they are using their corporate speak to pretend that it is something completely different than it is. Now, in the earnings call, he was asked by an investor, the CEO, on AC Shadows, you guys said you delayed the game. You keep saying it was a feature ready. So I'm curious, when you went through and looked back at the game, were you guys finding bugs? Looking back, were you glad you moved it? And I think you talked about an extra $20 million in development costs from doing this. How is that tracking? On Assassin's Creed Shadows, what we said was that back of what we saw with Outlaws, we needed to make sure that we come out with an impeccable player experience. Because Outlaws, and this is between the lines, Outlaws was not. Outlaws was a terrible gamer experience. That's why it died on the vine, failed on every single level, and they know that there was a major problem with the game beyond just bugs. Of course, there are always some bugs, and we found we've been continue focusing on making sure that the day one experience will be very well optimized. So we'll see if this is enough. This is a very similar move to what was done with Space Marine 2. They delayed the game for over a year, actually, in that instance, and really polished the game, and it actually did make the game much, much better. I don't know if Ubisoft has the focus on gamers that Saber Interactive actually does, but if they do, and they actually kind of right their ways, because the Star Wars Outlaws was quite the expensive lesson, could be an interesting move here. But for now, I think gamers are soured on this. I mean, the PR has been really, really bad. They're going to have to make a lot of big changes and promise more than some corporate doublespeak about this dual protagonist adventure if they're going to bring gamers back. He confirmed, yes, you are right. We had mentioned that this would translate to about 20 million euros in the total budget, as we've kept a strong level of resources on this last phase of development and polishing. So his delay and confirmation that it would cost an extra $20 million lends credence to that it's not just doing bug fixing, which we've been talking about, but could be making significant changes to the characters and game story. And I think they really, really need to do that for Assassin's Creed to have any sort of shot at being something that gamers like. Maybe they actually listen to everybody. I don't know. I'm not really willing to give Ubisoft the benefit of the doubt at this juncture, but we'll see what happens. He also said that he failed to provide an update on XDefiant after the game's executive producer admitted player counts are down. XDefiant is another property where they're just struggling. Player counts are down. It's not really working very well for them. Ubisoft's losing a lot of money on a lot of different fronts. We had that executive from Rainbow Six just jump ship and quit just a couple weeks ago. On top of all of this, this company is like a sinking ship on more than just the Assassin's Creed level. Assassin's Creed is such a big brand. It's it's actually bigger than Star Wars for gamers. That it is a big sink or swim situation for them. But on every level, it just seems like incompetence is radiating at this company, and they don't know what to do about it. They don't know how to get people back. They don't have anybody in development that seems to understand what gamers want there. And smaller studios and independent studios are picking up the slack. I mean, that's who's winning these days over the Ubisofts and BioWares, who are just, kind of trying very, very hard to milk the end of their brands for what they can. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Do you think $20 million is enough to fix Assassin's Creed Shadows? Will you be playing it based on Ubisoft's changes here? Let me know. Love to hear from you. Hit the like and subscribe button. Please do sign up for my newsletter in the description below. Grab some free books, my friends, this weekend, and enjoy yourselves out there. Happy Halloween.